Michael Hernandez of MLH Media and Valley Fight News, and I am here today with Joshua, the come up kid Simpson, as he comes out of Fresno, California. And how are you doing today, Josh?
Man, doing good, chilling, feeling good, training good, having fun, man, enjoying the process.
Yeah, I see you're right outside of Dethrone over there in Clovis, and you guys just had your throwdown Thursday, correct? Meaning it was a all sparring day. So take us through that. How is it? How's it working over there at Dethrone and getting your work in?
Man, it's working really good. Got a lot of top pro guys over here, Land Sharks, Domonik, Andrew. I like to get the top level work, a lot of push, a lot of hard cardio, a lot of learning, a lot of experience to catch up on. So that training is going really good. And also my coach Mike, with him having all the experience he has and all the game he can give me, all the wisdom he has from the outside is flowing pretty good, man.
Yeah, Coach Mike Moreno, Lavar, you're the boxing coach over there. You guys really got a great staff over there at Dethrone, and you guys always put on a great show wherever promotion that hosts you guys. But you're going to be at the 559 Fights 98 coming up here on June 24th, and I just wanted you to talk with us a little bit about that, man. You know, you've had a little bit of unfortunate events happened in these last couple of fights, but you've still had some pretty fun fights. I mean, your last fight against Doe was probably one of the most entertaining fights of that night. Even though Doe was having a good night for himself, you were still putting up a hell of a fight. I was like, man, Josh is he's one of those guys, man, that you're going to be hard to put down in fights. And so just talk to fans, man, because I really want you to kind of give an intro to yourself, especially against JJ Madrid, because he's coming in off of I think it was a 8-year layoff. So it's a little bit of an interesting matchup, you know? So take us through it. How are you feeling going into this fight? How's the training camp been preparing for this? Give us the rundown, man.
My last couple of fights, I actually was coming off an injury. I had a fractured my femur and then I had also had a tear in my shoulder. So I was just trying to fight through that. But this camp, I'm completely healthy, 100% back, good in the gym every day, all day, not feeling no cranks, no breaks, none of that. This fight, I'm really just looking to come and push the pace, bring my cardio back. I'm finally glad I could bring my full 110% cardio back. I can't tell all my game plan for sure, man, but just know I'm coming to bring some pain. I'm coming to get a finish for sure. I'm not coming to play around. And I just want the crowd to know, like, be ready. Don't miss it. Don't slip. Don't get no popcorn because it's gonna be explosive.
Yeah, you always come out with a great crowd reaction. I mean, I was just doing some research on you earlier today. I watched back on your first ever fight, and that fight, it was your first fight, and you still had a crazy crowd. So I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, this guy's gonna be something special. Just obviously progressing through the fights, watching them more, I'm like, the more people that kept on coming to you. So you definitely have an attachment with that MMA fan base. And take us through that. How have you been able to do that? Because it's definitely harder for a lot of these other guys to break through. But it seems like for you, you're just able to get. I see you sponsored with everybody. I see you posted up with Stogie Bear Shack. I see you posted up with all kinds of great sponsors and great people in the Central Valley. So take us through how it's been as a fighter, kind of promoting yourself, because it seems you've been pretty successful at that.
Yeah, so I feel as for me, like the number one thing is you got to push yourself. Like a lot of fighters, I feel like should take the time outside of the gym and outside of training and market themselves and have those conversations and have those meetings and make those phone calls, and make those connections and relationships because it goes a long way, especially when you're thorough and you make genuine relationships. It kind of just happens itself. And then the people feed off that themselves. They see that you make genuine connections when you see people talk to people, have nice interactions with them, make them feel good about themselves, and then it all just comes full circle back to you. Like to each his own. You just got to push yourself out there and make sure that the people love you and you love the people the same. It can't just be one way. So I feel like for me, that's the main thing that I do. I just show people a lot of love, and then I get it in return.
Take us through how you got into MMA, because I found out, I was doing a little bit of research, doing a little bit of searching up on myself, and I kind of found you were a football player. You played at Fresno High, you were a Warrior, and you kind of transitioned over to become a Tiger at college.
Yeah.
And you also dabbled a little bit into rugby, and now
Yeah.
you're in MMA and boxing. So take us through that, because I feel that transition, although it seems like, oh yeah, two sports that are very violent, it's not often, not oftentimes that a football player will go into MMA. So take us through how you got into it.
I liked physical sports. I liked contact. I've never been the biggest guy. I've always been the smallest guy on the field, but just the challenge being that smallest guy on the field, trying to prove myself, is what kept me playing football. Like I like that feeling, and I played football all the way up into college, really, and then I just felt like it was kind of going slow, and then COVID kind of happened. So then when COVID happened, I was just like, I want to make a transition change because I don't want to let my athletic ability to go to waste. So that's when I transitioned over to rugby because I was going to actually take a pro rugby spot in LA and play professional rugby. But soon after rugby, I watched Conor McGregor fight Nate Diaz. And when I watched Conor McGregor fight Nate Diaz, I was like, dude, I think I could do that. I was like, Conor showed me that you could come from nowhere, no matter how late you start, no matter how bad your situation is. Nothing matters except for how hard you push yourself and how big you could dream. So when I seen him do that, I just dedicated myself to martial arts. Like I didn't even have a coach when I first started. I kind of just started running, training, practicing shadow boxing, and after that, I just fell in love with the sport. Like everything about the sport, the discipline, the patience, and the hard push that you get from MMA. The push in MMA is nothing like football. It's nothing like rugby. It's a whole different. It challenges your soul for real. So that's what drew me to the sport, and that's what made me stick here. And ever since then, I just been training with coach and trying to get right and get these dubs, man.
Yeah, how did you get introduced to Coach Mike?
So I actually was over at Morris Karate when I very first started my MMA career for about I would say like 3 to 4 months with Isaac Morales. He was my first ever MMA coach. And then he kind of just parted ways with Morris, and he told me like, I got a coach for you that I think would be really good for you. And so he gave me over before he gave me over to Coach Mike, I actually took off from MMA for a little bit and I started boxing for a whole year. And when I started boxing for a year, I was traveling. I was going to Hollister. I actually boxed at the Mayweather gym for some time. I even boxed in Sacramento. And then eventually I was like, nah, I want that MMA belt, because that's how I started martial arts. So then I got with Coach Mike through Coach Isaac. And then ever since then, I just been here with Smash Jits and tearing stuff up, man. Just trying to get right, trying to get better every day, 1% better every day. That's all you can do.
Your boxing is very, very nice compared to a lot of these other guys that you're facing at the amateur level. So take us through how you use that as maybe as an advantage to yourself, or how you kind of maybe during fights, I know a lot of guys like to go away from their strengths, like how Gaethje will kind of stray away from wrestling. But do you like to use your boxing as kind of a, as your crutch, because it's definitely one of your strengths?
As a boxer, when I get in there, I really am not worried about wrestling as much anymore because now I understand my distance. Boxing understands that, oh, I can't be this close to this person, or he's too far to even contact. Like it gives you a subtleness when you get in there. You're very comfortable on your feet rather than getting in there and not knowing what's going to happen with the hands. Just kind of like worried and just panicking. When you get in there and you can box, you're not worried about nothing on the feet. You're just very comfortable, ready to strike whenever, ready to counter whenever, and you're always in position. So that's what I think boxing did for me, and I love it. I love boxing so much. Once I actually got deep into MMA and I found out you got to wrestle, you can't just box everybody because wrestling is going to happen. I kind of started to switch up. I paid attention to more, and so now I kind of pay attention to guys like Kamaru Usman, that they can mix their striking with their wrestling really good. So a lot of guys like even Mighty Mouse Johnson, that they got really good striking, but they can mix it well with their grappling because that's very important in this game. Striking alone can only get you so far. Those grappling situations are going to happen. You have to be prepared for them, and that does not mean you can't strike. You just have to know how to strike and stay in certain positions when you're grappling. So a lot of guys that mix their striking with their grappling pretty good and level changing pretty good. Those are the guys that I normally tend to watch now and image my game after.
In your MMA career, you're 6 fights in now, so you've had a good amount of fights. Has there been one fight in particular, that you maybe derived a real lesson from, because I know every single time you walk into that cage, either it being your first fight or your last fight, or even maybe one of your wins, well, you got hit upside the head and you're like, I really, this humbled me. Was there ever any fight in particular that just really opened your eyes and said, wow, I'm in MMA, like this is it right here?
Yeah, so definitely my first fight that was a big eye opener for me. Like I was very unaware in that moment, you know, and then that let me know, like, when you get in here, you got to be able to grapple too. You can't just strike all the time, you know. And when you get in these situations, you have to feel your way through them, and you can't just be lacking. So I think my very first fight was what got my grappling like leveled up ASAP. And that other fight, when I got caught with that kick, was like I learned you got to circle out the beginning. Everybody's not going to touch gloves, you know. Like I had the intention of touching gloves, and I got caught with that. So I was like, okay, that was my fault, you know. Like anytime you get in there, you got to be protecting yourself at all time, regardless. So two lessons I learned very early, and now I think I'm just ready for whatever else lesson to come. But I think those two losses really upped my game that much more, you know. So I'm very well prepped, very very aware where I'm at in that cage, very aware what's going on in that cage now, rather than just getting in there, you know.
Yeah, and that mental strength you built off that loss from Benny, I feel like that's more than any win would have provided you, especially in this amateur showcase. Because having a loss like that, having something like that happen, it definitely opens your eyes. Like how you said, like, oh damn, like not everyone's trying to just respect the game of martial arts and touch hands in the corner and do the whole shebang like how you're used to. So definitely seeing a difference and waking up in a sense and kind of saying like, hey man, like I got to be a killer when I go in there either way when it comes out.
Yeah,
But I feel like, for you to hop back in that cage so soon, man, it just shows your mental strength and like how you were saying earlier that anybody from anywhere can do anything. And
yeah,
that's really why I like you as a fighter, man, because you came after that loss, and I think maybe a month or two, you were right back in it, and that went to show me that you were a warrior. This guy is really a fighter. You're in this, and it really made me respect you and really start to follow you as a fighter, man, because it's
yeah.
definitely it's a different type of knockout too, especially when in one of those situations when there's so many eyes on you, and that was definitely a big fight. But I like how you came back after it. You're still fighting, and every single fight you've been bringing it, man. So kind of just take us through this upcoming fight against JJ Madrid. Is there anything in particular that you're really like, I really want to emphasize on this? This is something that, you're fully healthy. Is there anything you really want to put a display on? Is
Yeah,
the Valley Strong ballpark in preparation for a show on June 24th?
back. So for this fight, I really do want to show off. You know, a lot of people know I can strike, but I don't think a lot of people know I have Muay Thai striking now. I came in the game as like a straight boxer, but my Muay Thai has been getting a lot better, and I'm fighting a Muay Thai guy, and I want to let people know, like, yeah, I can Muay Thai, because people know I can wrestle now. People know I can just now. I've got those parts down. You know, they haven't really seen me bring out a lot of kicks, a lot of Muay Thai, a lot of those kind of stances and strikes. So I want to showcase a lot of my kicks that I've been working on, and showcase a lot of my Muay Thai I've been working on for this fight.
Yeah, that grappling expertise, was that something that you learned in high school from just kind of doing football, doing rugby, or were you a wrestler during that time?
You know what's crazy is no one knows this, but I just started wrestling like a year ago. So literally, like when I started that jits, I did like 2.5 months of jits. That was the only jits I had did. I think that was like 2019, and I had stopped it there. So then I boxed for the rest of that 2020, 2021. When I started basically like 2 months before my first fight, that's my first ever wrestling lesson, bro. Like I just started learning how to shoot double legs 2 months before that fight. So a lot of my wrestling just came from Coach Mike early in the morning at Smash Jits, you know, grinding it out and drilling the kill, drilling the kill, drilling the kill. And that's what I feel like picked up my process super fast was a lot of wrestling in the morning. So I really don't have no wrestling background. You know, I do have a rugby background that gives me the aggressiveness I feel like to just push past the hard parts, you know, like, because there's days you go in the gym and it fucking sucks and you don't want to be there. And it feels like it's a fucking 3 hour training when you only been training for 30 minutes. And that's just wrestling, you know? So that I feel like rugby and football helped me get through trainings like that because I'm used to that physicality. That physicality doesn't really bother me. And that's how I got the concept of wrestling and just down pretty easy. So for sure, I think my background played into my wrestling. But as for wrestling and jits, I just really got deep on that. I just turned into a vet. So I really can't wait to see what my grappling becomes in a year from now when I get deep in the game and I understand more positions, you know?
Every fighter has a timeline on what they're wanting to do, when they're wanting to hit the pro level, when they're wanting to kind of exit out of amateurs. Do you have a timeline for this? Is there, is there a year or maybe like, hey, once I hit so many fights in Amis, I'm out? Is there
Yeah.
what's your plan, man?
So for me and my coach, Coach Mike Moreno, we have our plan. He was like, bro, we gotta get that belt first. So we gotta get that 559 fights belt first, and then we gotta get that Camel States belt first, and we gotta defend it once. So until we do that, we're not going to the pros at all. We gotta prove to ourselves like, yeah, we got this completely handled, and when we go to the pros, we don't have shit to worry about. So definitely after I get that belt and defend it, then that's when I'll be making my way on the pros, but still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, well, Houston Schleibeck doesn't have a matchup scheduled, so who knows? Building some momentum off of this JJ Madrid win. You've been a very active bantamweight. I could definitely see a title shot happening in the future, man, and that would be awesome. That would be awesome to definitely see, especially like how we were saying earlier. You've gone through so much from your MMA career, even starting out. From in a karate gym to now. Hopefully, aspiring for a title, but rounding up this interview here, I really appreciate your time today, Josh. It was awesome getting to talk to you, especially after I know you had a full day of sparring, so I know that was very exhaustive on you. But is there anybody in particular you wanted to thank? I know sometimes, a certain family member is really pushing you during training camps, maybe helping you out during the weight cuts, helping you with those meals. Or was there anybody in the gym that really just pushes you to your limits? Is there anybody you wanted to thank in particular and just, give a shout out today?
Yeah, first and foremost, like I gotta thank my family here at Dethrone. Like I don't even call them like gym partners. Like here, it's really my family. Like Rick, Nick, Lamar, those guys are like my family. Like without those guys, I wouldn't be shit. Because the only reason I get so good like I do is those guys come to the gym and they push me every fucking day and they take care of me and make sure that I'm learning what I need to and they make sure that I'm moving how I need to and being responsible, with my body and my career. And then second, I want to thank my family, at home. They honestly support me a lot. A lot of people, when you start trying to do these kind of things like MMA and stuff, they're kind of like iffy about it. But my family that I have at home, like my aunt, my mom, my brothers, my pops, my girl, like they all push me to do this. Like they 100% believe in me. So every time comes to the gym to train, I just have that one less weight off my shoulder. Like I'm not worried at all because they believe in me. And for sure, I want to thank Coach Isaac too for linking me up with Coach Mike because that's how all this got started. And for sure, I want to thank all my sponsors because all my sponsors are the shit. They keep me fresh. They keep me stable, So without them, I would halfway have an MMA career. So for sure, shout out all my sponsors: Elite Auto, On Serve, Trippy Knots, Stogie Bear Shack, No Town, Los Vacante, Muffler Kings, all my guys, everybody, even people that I missed. There's so many of them. Like all of my sponsors, they know what's up. Like I love them so much, and I will make sure to keep promoting and getting them some more customers and keep making sure I push their business to the whole valley because when I go up, they're gonna go up because they play a huge part of my career too. So I want to say a huge shout out to all my sponsors that keep me pushing and keep me focused, man, for sure.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be very appreciative that you were able to shout them out in this interview. And I feel like you named off a good amount of those. So, if they have any hard feelings, they can go ahead and take it up with the judge. But I just wanted to go ahead and thank you today for your time, Josh. You were an absolutely awesome guest, man. And I'm really excited for your fight on June 24th because I feel it's going to have some great implications, especially on this bantamweight picture that we have in 559 fights. Because, like how I said, man, you've been active and you've been getting at it. And I really don't see anybody else that I know of that could contend for that title after you if you're able to scrap together maybe a win or two after this, man, because it's looking bright for you, man. And just keep on doing what you're doing, my brother. I'm really excited to keep on seeing you do your thing.
Shout out you for this interview, man. For sure. I thank you for the exposure, man. I know that you pushed for this interview and you made the time for it. So I really want to thank you too, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, brother, it was my pleasure, man. It was my pleasure, and I really appreciate your time today. And that was gonna be it from me and Joshua, the Come Up Kid Simpson. Make sure you guys go follow him on his Instagram and give him a follow. Yeah.
Get
Did you want to go ahead and throw up that app?
set. Come up Kid 559. You can find me on IG at Come Up Kid 559, Facebook Joshua Come Up Kid Simpson, and yeah, tap in, hit me up, man. I'm here for everybody. I'll reach out back to you. Just hit me up.
Hey, brother. I think that's gonna be about it from us, man. Make sure you guys go check in with Joshua the Come Up Kid Simpson. He's always got some fire merch dropping. Always got great fight news. He's got tickets if you guys need them, man. But that's gonna be it for Michael Hernandez of MLH Media and Valley Fight News. We're gonna be signing out with Joshua the Come Up Kid Simpson.
Deuces, man. Thank you.